Test.
Testing, testing. Go ahead.
2 minutes? Yep. Attention, Senators. The legislature is scheduled to begin in 2 minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the George W. Norris Legislative Chamber for the second day of the 180th Legislature, second session. Our chaplain today is Pastor Tevin Eddy from the Berean Bible Church, Hastings, Nebraska, in Senator Halloran's district. Please rise.
Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, thank you for showing up in the world that you created. And we're so grateful, God, that we get an opportunity like this to come together and work through a legislative process. God, I pray that your spirit would be in this place and you would give wisdom and clarity and unity to the proceedings, God. Lord, I pray for each of these men and women outside of work as well, that you would protect them and keep their families safe and help them to grow. And God, we just ask that in your world, you are honored and you are on display. Jesus, thank you for coming to this earth to die for our sins. We love you. Teach us more and more how we can love you, God, and love the people around us. Bind us together in unity. It's in the name of your son, Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Thank you. I recognize Senator Albright for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I call to order the second day of the 180th Legislature, second session. Senators, please record your presence. Roll call. Mr. Clerk, please record.
There's a quorum present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Are there any corrections for the journal?
There is one, Mr. President. On page 154, line 22, strike Aaron and insert Eric. It's the only correction I have, Mr. President.
Are there any messages, reports, or announcements?
There are, Mr. President. The 2023 interim report on the disposition of interim study resolutions has been filed. Additionally, Senator Lippincott has prioritized LB 600 as his personal priority bill. That's all I have this time.
Senator Erdman, you're recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. Good news, bad news. The good news is this is my last year. And the bad news is this is my last year. So today is day 2 already. I appreciate that. You have seen the notice about turning in rule changes. If you're going to submit rule changes, they need them in by noon today, by adjournment today. And so I want to update you. Yesterday, we dropped in 29 rule changes. Those are the ones introduced so far. Currently, you can find those rule changes on the Nebraska website, Nebraska Legislative website. It's a second link in the middle of the page. Following the recent legislative information, you can see those rules that have been submitted. This link will allow you to make comments about the rules and also make sure that you get your rule changes in by today. We will have a Rules Committee hearing on Monday, January 8th at 1:30 p.m. And so we'll be scheduling that. So for information for those who are in the public listening today, there will be a hearing on January 8th at 1:30. I was asked this morning, will we have a 10-hour rules hearing like we did last year? The answer is we will not. So we're going to figure out how to make this a streamlined process that we're not there till midnight. But I encourage you, if you have rule changes you'd like us to consider, get those in. We'll listen to those on Monday. And then it is probably going to be on Tuesday morning, we'll have an executive session on the Rules Committee to decide which ones come to the floor. If you have any questions, please stop by and ask me or send me an email, and we'll try to discuss and talk to you about how to get the rules submitted in a way that they're going to be appropriate for us to hear. And please tell all your constituents or anybody interested in the rules hearing, it'll be Monday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Erdman. Mr. Clerk, for items and new bills.
Thank you, Ms. Legislative Bill 901, offered by Senator Linehan. It's a bill for enacting revenue and taxation to provide a sales and use tax exemption for purchases by certain nonprofit organizations as prescribed. LB 902 by Senator DeBoer. It's a bill for enacting to assisted living facilities to prohibit a facility from requiring a third-party guarantee of payment as prescribed, repeal original sections. 903 by Senator DeBoer. It's a bill for enacting Alzheimer's disease and other dementia advisory council. Change provision relating to the membership of the council in the state Alzheimer's plan. Repeal the original sections. 904 by Senator DeBoer. Bill for enacting child care to change child care reimbursement rates and repeal the original sections. 905 by Senator Reapy. It's a bill for enacting the medical assistance program, amend section 68 and 911 to require the Department of Health and Human Services to submit a waiver state plan amendment for medical respite care as prescribed and repeal original sections. 906 by Senator Reapy, bill for enacting child labor laws, change penalties, provide enforcement powers for the Department of Labor and repeal original sections. 907 by Senator Reapy. It's a bill for enacting the Medical Assistance Act to require comprehensive coverage for treatment of obesity and repeal the original sections. 908 by Senator Aguilar. It's a bill for enacting the legislature to eliminate provisions related to legislative policy on telephones and telefax machines to outright repeal section 540105, reissue by statute in Nebraska. That's all I have at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Senator Sanders announces some guests under the south balcony. Friends Travis Beck and Suzanne LaChase from Los Angeles, California. Please stand and be recognized by your Nebraska Legislature. Mr. Clerk, for bill introductions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Legislative Bill 909 by Senator Aguilar. It's a bill for an act relating to the Administrative Procedures Act to change a requirement relating to agency notice to the Executive Board of the Legislative Council, repeal original sections. LB 910 by Senator Reapy. It's a bill for an act relating to emergency medical services to authorize emergency care providers to provide emergency medical care to injured law enforcement canines, harmonize provisions, repeal original sections. 911 by Senator Blood. It's a bill for enacting the Nebraska Indian Child Welfare Act, provide duties for the Department of Health and Human Services, the Office of Probation Administration relating to cases under the Act, harmonize provisions, repeal original sections. 912 by Senator Slama. It's a bill for enacting the Uninsured and Uninsured Motorist Insurance Coverage Act to authorize provisions and contracts relating to limitation period for insured claims, to harmonize provisions, repeal original section. 913 by Senator Hunt. It's a bill for an act relating to the Medical Assistance Act to require the Department of Health and Human Services to submit a state plan amendment for postpartum coverage under the Children's Health Insurance Program as prescribed and to repeal the original sections. 914 by Senator Kavanaugh. Senator John Kavanaugh is a bill for an act relating to real property to adopt the Uniform Unlawful Restrictions in Land Records Act and provide severability. 915 by Senator Brewer. That's a bill for an act relating to the Board of Trustees of Nebraska State Colleges, change and provide powers and duties of the Board of Trustees to harmonize provisions and repeal original sections. 916 by Senator Brewer. That's a bill for an act relating to forfeiture to adopt the Controlled Substance Offenses Forfeiture Act to eliminate and transfer provisions relating to forfeiture and disposition to seize contraband, to eliminate obsolete provisions, to harmonize provisions, repeal the original sections. 917 by Senator Wayne. It's a bill for an act relating to insurance to require the establishment of a standard prior authorization process, to require approval and prior authorization forms as prescribed, provide certain response time requirements for prior authorization requests, and repeal the original sections. 918, Senator Wayne, a bill for an act relating to law enforcement to allow individuals who have received deferred action for childhood arrival status to receive law enforcement officer training and certification, to allow persons to participate in retirement programs for such law enforcement provisions, harmonize provisions, and repeal the original sections. 919 by Senator McKinney. It's a bill for an act relating to correctional facilities to define terms to require demolition of the Nebraska State Penitentiary as prescribed. Excuse me, Legislative Bill 920, offered by Senator McKinney. It's a bill for an act relating to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program to require the Department of Health and Human Services to establish a restaurant meals program and repeal original sections. 921 by Senator McKinney. It's a bill for an act relating to criminal justice to provide for mentorship programs by probation and parole officers to state legislative purpose, define terms, provide duties, and require evaluation and reports. That's all I have at this time, Mr. President.
Mr. Clerk, for new bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Legislative Bill 922, offered by Senator McKinney. It's a bill for enact relating to criminal justice to adopt the Parolee and Probation and Business Empowerment Act. 923 by Senator McKinney. It's a bill for enact related to travel enrollment cards, define terms, allow for the use of travel enrollment cards for proof of age and identify for certain firearm and alcohol laws, eliminate obsolete provisions, harmonize provisions, and repeal original sections. 924 by Senator McKinney. It's a bill for enact relating to revenue and taxation, to define term, provide a homestead exemptions for individuals that resided in qualified census tracts, to harmonize provisions, repeal the original sections, declare an emergency. 925 by Senator Aguilar. It's a bill for an act relating to government contracting to adopt the Firearm Industry Non-Discrimination Act. 926 by Senator Aguilar. It's a bill for an act relating to museums to change provisions of the Museum Property Act and to repeal the original sections. 927 by Senator Frederickson. It's a bill for an act relating to child welfare to require suicide awareness and prevention training for employees of child placing agencies and child welfare workers and to repeal the original section. 928 by Senator Frederickson. It's a bill for an act relating to the Nebraska Correctional Healthcare Services Act to create the position of mental health director, to establish duties, to harmonize provisions, and to repeal the original sections. Legislative Bill 929 by Senator Frederickson. It's a bill for an act relating to telecommunications to provide for dual capability between the 911 service system and the 988 suicide and crisis lifeline, to provide duties, provide immunity from liability, and repeal the original sections. 930 by Senator Frederickson, the bill for an act relating to appropriations, change provision relating to an appropriation of the University of Nebraska to repeal the original section, declare an emergency. That's all I have at this time, Mr. President.
Mr. Clerk, for additional new bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Legislative Bill 931, offered by Senator Frederickson. It's a bill for enacting the appropriations to change the use of reappropriated federal funds as prescribed, to reduce and increase certain appropriations relating to behavioral health purposes, and to declare an emergency. 932 by Senator Frederickson. It's a bill for enacting the Mental Health Practice Act to change provision relating to provisional mental health practitioner licenses and repeal original sections. 933 by Senator Boston. It's a bill for enacting the Medical Assistance Act to change coverage requirement for continuous glucose monitors and repeal original sections. 934 by Senator Boston. It's a bill for enacting consumer protection to change provision relating to venue for actions under the Consumer Protection Act, to change enforcement and investigative powers under the Attorney General for violation of the Act, the Uniform Deceptive Trade Act, provide for jury trials, to harmonize provisions, provide severability, and repeal original sections. 935 by Senator Ibach. It's a bill for enacting the appropriations to appropriate funds to the Department of Health and Human Services. 936 by Senator Bostar. It's a bill for enacting the county government to eliminate provision relating to the regulation of certain recreation, entertainment, and amusements, to outright repeal section 23808 through 28818, reissued by statute Nebraska. 937 by Senator Bostar. It's a bill for enacting revenue and taxation to adopt the Caregiver Tax Credit Act, provide for tax credits, to harmonize provisions, repeal original sections. 938 by Senator Brandt. It's a bill for enacting the County Purchasing Act to change provision relating to the county board, purchasing agent purchases, competitive bidding, surplus property, to allow auctions and trades, to eliminate special purposes, harmonize provisions, repeal original sections. 939 by Senator Erdman. It's a bill for enacting school funding to adopt the My Student, My Choice Act, provide an operative date. 940 by Senator Dorn. It's a bill for enacting the county government to provide the authority for counties to plan, initiate, fund, maintain, administer, and evaluate facilities, programs, and services for survivors of domestic violence or sexual assault as prescribed. 941 by Senator Dorn. It's a bill for enacting the appropriations to state intent regarding the appropriations for Medicaid assistance living facilities to the Department of Health and Human Services. 942 by Senator Dorn. It's a bill for enacting the appropriations to state intent regarding the appropriations for Medicaid nursing facilities, and reports by the Department of Health and Human Services regarding appropriations for Medicaid nursing facilities. 943 by Senator Dorn. It's a bill for enacting the appropriations to appropriate additional funds for the Department of Health and Human Services for behavioral health aid to state intent, repeal the original sections, declare an emergency. 944 by Senator Dorn. It's a bill for enacting relating to public assistance, to provide for the use of Medicaid managed care excessive profit fund for behavioral health needs of adults and children as prescribed, and repeal the original sections. 945 by Senator Hughes. It's a bill for enacting relating to children, to require certain documents, information, and materials be granted to children before leaving foster care, harmonize provisions for the original sections. 946 by Senator Day. It's a bill for enacting public assistance to change requirements relating to payments for child care subsidy program providers and to repeal the original sections. 947 by Senator Day. It's a bill for enacting the Building Construction Act to allow virtual inspection for certain building permits as prescribed, to require certain inspection records be made available to the public, harmonize provisions, and repeal original sections. 948 by Senator McDonald. It's a bill for enacting the community development law to provide certain requirements for redevelopment contracts and to repeal original sections. That's all I have at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Senator Mosier would like to recognize Dr. Rosenquist of Columbus, who's here today serving as the physician of the day. Please stand and be recognized by your Nebraska Legislature. Mr. Clerk, for an announcement.
Mr. President, the Judiciary Committee will meet in executive session under the south balcony at 11:05.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. New bills, Mr. Clerk.
Legislative Bill 949, offered by Senator Linehan. It's a bill for Nachtalind County Assessors, change provisions relating to the inspection of real property and repeal original sections. 950 by Senator Linehan. It's a bill for Nachtalind occupation taxes, change provision relating to the collection of occupation taxes to harmonize provisions, repeal original sections. 951 by Senator Linehan. A bill for Nachtalind public officials to adopt the Public Officials on Private Boards Open Meetings Act. 952 by Senator Day. It's a bill for an act relating to schools to require the Department of Health and Human Services to establish the Summer Electronic Benefits Transfer Program and repeal the original section and declare an emergency. LB 953 by Senator Cowth. It's a bill for an act relating to teachers to provide tuition waivers for student teachers as prescribed. 954 by Senator Cowth, a bill for an act relating to biometric data to adopt the Biometric Autonomy Liberty Law, provide an operative date. 955 by Senator Bostar. It's a bill for an act relating to business practices to require certain notice for purchasers of gift certificates and gift cards, provide penalties. 956 by Senator Bostar, a bill for an act relating to wind energy, define terms, provide for installation and operation of light mitigating technology systems of certain wind turbines as prescribed. 957 by Senator Dungan. It's a bill for an act relating to the Tax Equity and Educational Opportunities and Support Act, change provision related to net option funding, local system resources, the Education Future Fund, certain certifications aid to harmonize provisions, and repeal the original sections, declare an emergency. 958 by Senator Wishart. It's a bill for an act relating to the Medical Assistance Act to provide for annual adjustments of certain reimbursement rates to harmonize provisions, repeal the original sections. 959 by Senator Dungan. It's a bill for an act relating to criminal procedure to require transfer of cases to juvenile court if a county or district court fails to rule on a motion to transfer within 30 days after the hearing, to eliminate obsolete provisions, harmonize provisions, repeal original sections. That's all I have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Clerk, for new bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Legislative Bill 960, offered by Senator Jacobson. It's a bill for enacting the State Athletic Commissioner to provide powers and duties to the State Athletic Commissioner relating to the regulation of bare knuckle mixed martial arts, amateur kickboxing, amateur bare knuckle boxing, amateur bare knuckle mixed martial arts, amateur sparring matches and exhibitions, harmonized provisions, and repeal original sections. 961, Senator Duncan. It's a bill for enacting relating to labor to prohibit non-complete agreements for lower wage employees as prescribed, define terms, and provide for applicability. 962 by Senator Wayne. It's a bill for enacting to schools to prohibit the use of certain projection maps in public schools as prescribed, to require each school board to adopt a policy relating to projection maps. 963 by Senator Wayne. It's a bill for enacting to county attorneys to provide for the powers and duties of county attorneys and deputy county attorneys to be performed by district attorneys and deputy district attorneys appointed by the Attorney General, to eliminate provision relating to powers and duties and election of county attorneys, provide powers and duties of the Attorney General, to harmonize provisions, and repeal the original sections. 964 by Senator Duncan. It's a bill for enacting to teachers to amend Section 85, 3004, to adopt the Special Education Teacher Forgivable Loan Program Act, provide for scholarships under the Nebraska Career Scholarship Act, and repeal the original sections. 965 by Senator Holdcroft. It's a bill for an act relating to license plates, change and provide provisions for military honor plates, prisoner of war license plates, disabled veterans license plate, Purple Heart license plate, to provide duties for the Department of Motor Vehicles, harmonize provisions, and repeal the original sections. 966 by Senator DK is a bill for an act relating to motor vehicles to change provision related to traffic control signals and excise tax rates and repeal the original sections. 967 by Senator DK. It's a bill for an act relating to crimes and offenses, define and redefine terms relating to trafficking, change provision related to the Human Trafficking Victim Assistance Act, to harmonize provisions and repeal the original sections. 968 by Senator DK. It's a bill for an act relating to revenue and taxation, to adopt the Live Adult Entertainment Establishment Fee Act, harmonize provisions, provide an operative date, provide severability, and repeal the original sections. 969 by Senator DK. It's a bill for enacting public power and irrigation districts, change provision related to contracts and sealed bids, to repeal the original sections. 970 by Senator Lippincott. It's a bill for enacting relating to the death penalty, provide for execution by nitrogen hypoxia, define terms, transfer provisions, harmonize provisions, and repeal the original sections. 971 by Senator Lippincott. It's a bill for enacting relating to the game law, to provide for free hunting permit for veterans on Veterans Day, to harmonize provisions and repeal the original sections. 972 by Senator Lippincott. It's a bill for enacting the Uniform Controlled Substances Act to amend Section 28401 to prohibit kratom as a controlled substance, define terms, and repeal the original sections. 973 by Senator Brewer. It's a bill for enacting the game law to change provision related to the issuance of annual combination fishing, fur harvesting, hunting permits, habitat stamps, aquatic habitat stamps, and migratory waterfowl stamps. 974 by Senator Holdcroft. It's a bill for enacting the homicide of an unborn child, change penalties for motor vehicle homicide of an unborn child as prescribed, and repeal the original sections. In addition to that, Mr. President, communication from the Speaker referring LR 276 to the reference committee to be referenced to an appropriate standing committee. I have proposed rules changes offered by Senator Wayne, Senator John Kavanaugh, an amendment to be printed to 262 from Senator Halloran, Senator Linehan to 299, designation of priority bills, Senator John Kavanaugh, 184, Senator Halloran, LR 31, and Senator Slama, LB 912. Request to, as co-introducers, Senator Boastar to 137, Senator Ballard to 137, Senator Frederickson to 822, Senator Holdcroft to 844, Senator Halloran to 876, as well as Senator Merman, Senator Lowe, Senator Walls, Senator Jacobson, all to 876, Senator Slama to LB 910, Senator Day to LB 933, Senator McDonald to LR 275CA. An announcement that the Reference Committee will meet upon adjournment in room 2102. And finally, Mr. President, Senator McKinney would move to adjourn until Friday, January 5th, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m.
Members, the question is, shall the legislature adjourn for the day? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. The motion carries. We are adjourned.